So, dear Dani, what shall the fans expect from your forthcoming show in Trezzo on November 20th?
Well, it's going to be a very visual show. Got a new stage show, new lights, great lineup, very eclectic bill. Black Satellite, Mental Cruelty, Butcher Babies, Cradle of Filth. When I say eclectic, I mean it's very different. It's not just black metal, black metal, black metal. Bands have been chosen for their diversity and their theatricality. It's going to be an event more than a show. Very much looking forward to coming back to Italy. Love playing Italy. Was in Italy earlier this year at a friend's wedding, just outside Milan, in fact, not too far from the venue, at the castle. I had a wonderful time. Got to spend some time looking around Milan. Went down to the canal and hung out at all the cool shops there. Ate a lot of pizza. Ate a lot of ice cream. It was really hot when we were there. It was like April, but it was boiling. Yeah, had a fantastic time. Always looking forward to coming back to Italy. I love playing the Mediterranean countries, obviously, especially in winter or autumn as it is. So yeah, it's just going to be a fantastic show. We're going to be playing a very mixed set. We're going to play a new track. We're going to be playing some newer material, older material, fan favorites. Yeah, well, I mean, we're doing something for everybody, all of our fans.
Can you introduce to our listeners the lineup, the band that will hit the stage that night?
Well, it's the same as the last time we played. It's Donny Burbage, Zoe Fedorov, Ashok, Martin Skrupka, Daniel Firth, and myself.
Can you disclose something regarding any studio activity for Cradle of Filth?
Absolutely, but I can't diverge too much, obviously. Yeah. We have a new single coming out single and video coming out on the 22nd of this month, just in time for the Halloween season. And you understand why we decided to release it around Halloween when you hear the song. That'll be the first of 3 or 4 singles prior to the album's release in April.
Can you briefly describe the birth of a Cradle of Filth song and the arrangement process with the current lineup?
Well, it differs. I mean, we don't stick to a particular formula other than the fact that we all live in different countries. We have 2 people live in America, 2 people live in the Czech Republic, 1 person who lives in Scotland, and I'm the only person that lives in England now. So a lot of our material is done backward and forward over the internet, via Dropbox, and then we get together before tours to collate ideas. And when we're on tour, we're working as well. We usually reserve a hotel room, sometimes on a day off, not every day. But when we have a bit of a time, we collectively get together to work on the material that has been brought together via Dropbox. And then we have rehearsals. We have rehearsal days as well, where we get to do further work on material. Also, when we get to the studio, we work very closely with our producer, Scott Atkins, to refine songs. But that isn't always the case. I mean, that's really sort of the grand picture, but sometimes it differs. It's not, always the same. Sometimes material is written whilst we're on the road, so that obviously starts an altogether different process. But it works very well for us. I mean, preferably, as in the past, I would like to hire out a big house somewhere, which we've done on multiple occasions, with a studio attached so that we can all be there for a whole week. We can't escape. And generally we turn up to that house with a plethora of material already written, like scraps, loads of riffs, riff banks, etc., etc. So maybe on the next record, which have begun writing already, because we're trying to be a little bit more prolific since the pandemic held everybody back. I mean, it delayed our previous album, Existence is Futile, by over a year, which evidently inevitably led to this album being delayed. And also, we were playing a lot of concerts. So, this album took a while to record because we were recording like 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, tours in between.
Is there like a theme, a topic you haven't worked on in your lyrics yet and that you would like to like delve into?
That's a bit of a heavy question. I can't really answer that, to be honest. Generally, when I get ideas, and also I don't like giving things away. So many bands have been, steal ideas or borrow ideas rather than steal. I think that's a better word for it. So if I did have an idea, I wouldn't tell you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Suicide, really. I mean, it does get more and more difficult with time.
Yeah.
Genuinely because there's more bands out there doing very similar things. Yeah. And also the fact that this album will be album 14. Obviously, it's written, recorded, delivered to the record company. So the next album will be album 15, and that doesn't include 2 EPs, bonus material, bonus tracks, live records, which have new songs on board, collaborations, etc., etc. So yeah, it doesn't get any easier. You would think it would be because you have a tried and tested formula, but to stay one step ahead of any competition, although I don't see it like that. I mean, I don't see us in direct competition with anybody. But in order to remain original and fresh, then obviously it becomes trickier with time.
Well, 30 years have come and gone since the release of The Principle of Evil Made Flesh. Which are your fondest memories of working on that album?
Well, we recorded it in Academy Studios, which was quite a famed studio. It wasn't particularly big, it wasn't particularly grandiose. It was, in fact, quite low key, but it was infamous for the fact that a lot of bands had used it. Paradise Lost had used it for Gothic. Anathema had used it for Serenades. My Dying Bride had used it for their debut record, Turn Loose the Swans. So because of that, we were very interested in using it and working with the studio owner, Keith Appleton, who also played piano on a couple of our songs. We also recorded Vampire there as well. The studio is defunct now. Keith has died, unfortunately, and I don't think the studio and the engineer Mags, who was a critical part of the whole formula, I don't think he worked. Well, he doesn't work there anymore because it doesn't exist. But I think the fondest memory was because it was so new to us. We were based in the south of England, and Dewsbury is essentially what we would call north of England, although it's sort of Yorkshire, so it's not. It's West Yorkshire. So it's further up the country, and it was autumn as well, around the same time actually, as we're talking now. And it was very gloomy, but very atmospheric. The leaves were falling. We were staying in a house as a band, and we were all very young at the time. I was 21, I think, or 20 at the time. So it was an adventure, and yeah, it just held a very strong feeling of magic for us. So much so, like I say, that we went back and recorded Vampire there.
Is there any future activity planned as for Devilman and the Temple of the Black Moon?
Devilman is sadly defunct. Unless somebody was to offer us a huge amount of money to reform, that's not going to happen. I think that did its time. It was very cool. Our drummer's now in Machine Head. The other guitarist is a band called Ghosts of Atlantis. The keyboardist Lauren actually married our producer Scott Atkins.
Oh,
And yeah, so I wouldn't want to dishonor the legacy of that band. I mean, it was a great band. We did two great albums. There was talk of doing a third, but Cradle of Filth has really since getting new management, which is Des and Anastasia Fafara. I mean, Des is obviously the singer of Devil Driver and Cold Chamber, one of my best friends. And since getting them on board as management about 5 years ago, we've been so busy because they're so good at bringing things for the table for Cradle of Filth and work on a 3 year plan. Um, that there really isn't any time. But that being said, Temple of the Black Moon is a thing. And I'm going to finish the album off in LA at some point in the near future. And I know that's been on the cards for a long while. But you got to remember that the other members of the band are all in other bands. And Rob Caggiano, who's the other main guy, one of my best friends, he used to be in Anthrax, then he joined Volbeat, and now he's a big producer in his own right, working with the likes of Bruce Springs, Bruce Springsteen and Brian Johnson and Will Smith's wife. And yeah, so obviously he's a busy chap. The other members are busy people. I'm busy. Um, so it will come out when it comes out.
well, any extra musical projects going on at the moment?
No, not absolutely not.
Okay.
No, honestly, Cradle of Filth has so many things going on with collaborations. We just did a collaboration with a big fashion house called Vetements. Um, we've got a collaboration coming up with Blackcraft. I've done numerable musical collaborations with people like Bring Me the Horizon, 69 Eyes, Ed Sheeran. Well, Cradle have done with Ed Sheeran. We've got another one coming up soon, which I can't really talk about yet, which is another big thing. Um, yeah, and it's a business in itself. Obviously, we're touring a lot as a band, very prolific in that respect, writing new material. And then obviously I run the between me and Des and Anastasia run Cradle of Filth as a business. So that's like the merchandise part of the band, as well as um, you know the actual musical side of the band, which it's a lot of hard work to keep on top of.
One final greeting to the Italian fans and especially an invitation to join you on November 20th in Trezzo Sull'Adda at Live Club.
Well, it's a brilliant venue. Love playing there. Um, just outside Milan, as you know. And yeah, we're just very much looking forward to seeing our Italian fans. We always have a great time. They're always very vicarious and loud and accommodating. And it's always a very great experience for us leaving Europe and coming down. I know it's not far down into Italy, and I'd love to play, a lot lower. Florence, perhaps. I haven't played Florence for a long while. Um, and sadly, it only seems to be one show in Italy. Um, I can't tell you why that is. Our booking agent books and we play. Um, but yes, very much looking forward to playing there, seeing all our fans. Hope that we're going to, well, I know that we're going to deliver a fantastic show between ourselves, Butcher Babies, Mental Cruelty, and Black Satellite. So yeah, everybody is welcome. It's going to be a fantastic show. And the last of our shows before the new album drops in beginning of April. That's, roughly. I don't know the exact date, but we won't be coming back to Europe next year. We're going to be concentrating on other territories. So probably won't see the band for a couple of years. So this is the opportunity to come down and celebrate.